to this explainer. I am so glad you're here. I bet you have this incredibly specific idea in your head right now, some piece of software you just wish existed. But maybe you're thinking, how on earth do I turn that magic Disney-style wish into something that actually runs on my phone? Well, get ready, because building a highly personalized app, it's not just for professional developers anymore. Today, we're going to map out exactly how you, yes you, totally regardless of your technical background, can build software that is perfectly tailored to your life, just by teaming up with AI.
Let's just quickly glance at our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the era of personal software, map out the 5 software shapes, and then choose your AI builder. After that, we'll demystify some developer jargon, look at how to actually steer your AI partner, and finally, wrap up with testing and security. Sound good? Let's dive in.
Section 1. The era of personal software. Moving beyond mass-market apps.
For the longest time, if you had a problem, you just had to cross your fingers and hope some big tech company built a generic app for it. But that whole paradigm, it is completely shifting. Our source hits the nail on the head here, stating, "We've entered the era of personal software." And the core idea here is just profoundly empowering. You literally do not have to memorize a complex software stack. You don't have to be a tech person to build something tailored exactly to your life. That line between software engineer and everyday problem solver has never been easier to cross.
And this comparison really brings it to life. On the mass market side, you've got apps that require massive, complex infrastructure because they're built for millions of users. But look at personal apps. We're talking about hyper-specific tools built for maybe 1 or 2 people. Take this guy in Amsterdam, for example. He was super annoyed by an unreliable ferry timetable, and commercial live trackers cost hundreds of euros a month. So what did he do? He built his own personal app using a cheap 200-euro Raspberry Pi and an antenna to grab public radio signals directly from the ships, all just so he'd know exactly when to leave his house. Or think about a married couple who built a simple shared web app just to track their specific home appliances and maintenance schedules. These are tiny pieces of software, but they are absolute game changers because they fit an individual's life perfectly.
Moving to Section 2, the 5 software shapes, mapping the territory of what you can build.
So before we jump in and pick an AI tool, we need to ground your wish into a tangible technical reality. We need to map out the 5 basic shapes of software you could build. First up is a local tool. This is the absolute simplest route you can take. It runs right on your own computer, maybe uses a few local files or a tiny little database. It's perfect if you just want a private document sorter or a personal research tool. Honestly, it might never even need a web link or a login.
Then we have the second shape, a web app. And this is actually the recommended default for most personal software. It opens from a simple link, works right in your browser, and you can usually just save it to your phone's home screen. The best part? It's incredibly easy to share with a spouse or a coworker, and you totally bypass all that annoying App Store approval nonsense.
Now, the third shape is a native phone app. This is usually what pops into our heads when we hear the word app. But, full warning here, this comes with a lot more headaches. We're talking App Store reviews, developer accounts, the whole shebang. You really should only go this route if your app absolutely demands deep, specific phone hardware, like reliable background location tracking or Bluetooth. If you don't need those, seriously, stick to the web app.
Shape number 4 is a background service. This is a bit different because it usually has no screen at all. It just quietly wakes up on a schedule, maybe to check a public record every single morning, does its low-level job moving data around, and goes back to sleep. Finally, the 5th shape is a hardware project. This is for software that has to live close to the physical world. Think custom buttons, sensors, or that Amsterdam ferry receiver. And hey, if the idea of physical wiring sounds totally intimidating, check this out. AI agents can actually read photographs of your physical wiring now. You literally snap a picture of your circuit board and the AI acts like the senior engineer standing right over your shoulder, explaining what every pin does and helping you troubleshoot. It is absolutely mind-blowing.
All right, Section 3, choosing your AI builder, finding the right coding partner for your project.
So, we know the shape of our software. How do we find the right AI partner to actually build the thing? Well, it all comes down to how much control you need. If you're a complete beginner and just want the absolute fastest route from a description to a clean, working web interface, Lovable is a fantastic starting point. It prepares the whole development environment for you instantly. Need a bit more power? Intermediate tools like Replit or Bolt are great because they roll your database, server, and publishing into one single convenient service. And if you're advanced and want maximum control, meaning you own the project files locally and can easily swap out parts later, you'll want coding agents like Codex or Claude Code, paired with tools like GitHub, Supabase, and Vercel.
Up next, Section 4, Developer Jargon Demystified, translating tech speak into plain English.
We really want to make sure you don't get intimidated when your AI builder starts throwing tech terminology at you. So let's just rapidly translate this into plain English. Ready? Dictionary time. Interface. That's simply what you see and touch on the screen. A database? It just remembers structured info, like a list of your appliances. Authentication is just a security guard asking, "Who are you?" While authorization asks, "Okay, but what are you actually allowed to see or change?" The host is simply the computer keeping your software awake and available, which, by the way, could literally be a Raspberry Pi in your living room. An integration brings in an outside feed, like live weather data. And finally, deployment. That just means putting your working software somewhere where it keeps running. See? Not scary at all. Now you can actually speak your AI partner's language.
Moving to Section 5, Steering Your AI Partner. Moving past the one magical prompt,
Honestly, this right here might be the absolute most crucial strategy in this entire explainer. We've got to ditch this myth of the one magical prompt. Instead, you need to systematically steer your AI using durable context. Our source recommends creating a highly specific 4-file framework in your project folder. Step 1 is project.md. This just plainly states who the app is for, the before and after goals, and your privacy needs. Step 2 is decisions.md. Every time the AI makes a choice, it must record its options, rationale, and cost implications right here. Step 3 is scenarios.md, which holds the real-world test cases your app actually has to handle. And Step 4 is agents.md, or maybe Claude.md, which is where you give plain English instructions demanding the AI explain its logic to you before it acts.
As our source perfectly states, the answer to all of this is not one magical prompt, because one magical prompt is not really how you build software. It's so true. You are the captain of a ship here. Forcing the AI to explain its choices in those text files is just infinitely superior to typing out a lucky sentence and crossing your fingers for perfect code. You are the boss. Make the AI document its work.
Finally, Section 6, Testing and Security, keeping your project safe and functional.
So here is our final reality check. Yes, the AI might be writing the code, but the human, that's you, is still the vital quality assurance tester. Seriously, you have to stop and ask, did the app actually work? You cannot just ask Claude Code or Lovable, "Hey, does this work?" and take their word for it. You have to get your hands dirty. Take those real-world situations from your scenarios.md file and challenge your app. If you built a photo scanner, feed it a completely blurry, unreadable photo. See what happens. Only a human can do that final check to make sure the unhappy paths don't crash your whole system.
Okay, let's talk safety. Here are your absolute critical security rules. Keep your apps private by default. Always rely on managed login systems instead of letting the AI invent some custom password storage. And please, listen to me on this one because beginners fall into this vibe coding trap all the time. Keep your API keys and passwords completely secret. They literally never belong in visible web pages, chat transcripts, or GitHub. You also need to enforce access control at the database level. Don't just hide a button on the interface and call it secure. And lastly, always back up your data and actually test that you can restore it.
The golden rule for all of this? Start on easy mode. If this is literally your first time building a personal app, avoid hard mode at all costs. Do not try to build something that handles medical records, legal files, safety-critical alerts, or anything involving children's data. Just don't do it. Start with something simple, like a plant watering reminder or a basic fairy tracker, and you can scale up your risk profile only as your skills actually grow.
Now, once you really master the basics, our source does mention a few supplementary toolkits designed by the creator for power users. Things like Open Brain for remembering long-term unstructured context, Open Skills for reusable AI behaviors, Open Engine for passing work between tools, and Ringer, which is an advanced multi-agent supervision system. Now, these are strictly optional next steps, but they really show you just how incredibly far you can scale this up once you get comfortable. Wow, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from mapping out the 5 shapes of software to picking your AI builder, busting through jargon, and actively steering your AI. So I want to leave you with one final provocative question. What is that one piece of software you have wanted for years just because nothing you can buy quite fits? Well, you have the roadmap now. I challenge you to map out that long-held wish, pick a simple tool like Lovable, and actually make it a reality. You're the one in control now. Go build something amazing.